If you drive less than 10 minutes outside of downtown Greenville towards Pickens, you will stumble upon a quaint community that is home to Alexander Elementary School. This school is a safe place for most of its students, as the majority of students come from families with rougher home lives. The school is at Title I, located just off the intersection of White Horse and Blue Ridge. The school is at the center of the sweetest, predominantly Hispanic community. Alexander is considered a much smaller elementary school, as our current enrollment is 410 students. One thing I find special about Alexander is how hard the staff work to make coming to school our students' favorite part of the day. For me, the most special thing about Alexander are my 16 fifth grade superheroes. A common weakness for most of my students is their inconsistency at home. Although I can't control what goes on at home, I can control their experience in my classroom. One way I've learned to control their classroom experience is by greeting them each morning at the door. I ask each of them what kind of day they're going to have. A great day. And what does it start with? A great attitude. I like this because it teaches them that we have the power to choose what kind of day we are going to have based on what kind of attitude we have. I teach an inclusion class, and a lot of my students have been told their whole life that they can't. But in my classroom, I've made it a priority to help them see that they can. One of the many ways I have demonstrated high expectations with my students is with their cubbies. From day one, students were expected to keep their cubbies nice, neat, and organized. We talked about how an organized cubby helps us know exactly where we can find things. Another way I have set high expectations is through my behavior management system. My students know that my favorite thing to do is to celebrate them, but they also know that I expect a lot from them. We've talked about how when people really care, they don't just let you get away with things. This is also why I have so many procedures for everything in my classroom. My students know that I love to have fun, but they also know that in order to play hard, we must also work hard.
So let me see your best looking superhero position. You should be facing that.
Each morning when we come back from related arts, we make sure that we know exactly what our expectations are when re-entering the classroom.
When you go inside, I would like for you to grab your word study, and I want you to look over your spelling and vocabulary words.
Depending on how well they behave each week, I like to reward them with a fun gift of Sparkle to practice their spelling words.
We should be at a voice level 0, so I shouldn't hear any talking, and then we will play Sparkle. If I hear talking, will we play?
I feel it's really important to let your students know exactly what your expectations are.
Our voice level should be off.
At the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about what it looks like to be in a ready-to-learn position. We call this our superhero position.
Much better, Adolfo. I'm missing your eye contact. So, today, we are going to do a research project using our tablet.
I learned this Google Slides activity during my Google Professional Development course. My students love that I'm still taking classes myself because they know that I'm also trying to grow as a learner.
And divided you guys into groups. And you're already logged into your Google Classroom.
One thing I like most about this activity is that the students have to work together as a group, but they also may only communicate through their tablets. This teaches them both soft skills in working well with others, while it also teaches them how to be responsible digital citizens.
It's really cool because we're going to get to work together as a team without even being near each other. So we're going to only communicate through the tablet. That means our voices the entire time will be at a voice level 0.
At Alexander Elementary, we have a school-wide voice level system. Embracing this, I've always tried to remind my students that they are at a voice level 0 if my expectation involves no talking.
And we are going to see what each slide.
After introducing a long set of directions, I always try and double-check with the students to make sure that my expectations are clear.
Should we be talking?
No.
If we have a question, what should we do? Exactly. All right, go ahead and work with your groups. So stay where you're seated. You may go around the room if you would like, but if I see one person talking, every single person...
It was really cool watching the students communicate via their tablets. I was so impressed with how engaged the students were in their Google Slides activity. I included this small clip to show you just how quietly the students were hard at work.
our social.
Whenever possible, I really try to celebrate my students when I see them doing something that I love.
So, because we worked hard, what do we get to do? Play hard! Okay, so we're gonna play hard today by practicing our spelling with our sparkle. Our voice level should be at 0.
Another way I've learned to set expectations is by changing the tone in my voice. This really regains my students' attention.
The rest of us should be silent. Okay.
I wanted to briefly share with you our favorite project that we've done this year. It was our big body character traits. After our class read the book Frindle, each small group chose their favorite character. They then had to use the text to determine their character's inside and outside character traits. We then used big paper to trace a student's body. The body was then used to display their life-size character's inside and outside character traits. Each group presented their big body to practice soft skills of public speaking. We then voted as a class on our favorite ones to display outside of our classroom. The students were so proud, and so was I. This year has surely been an adventure. There's never been a dull moment. And although I hope my students learn a lot this year, I hope more than anything they know that they are believed in, listened to, and loved deeper than words will ever express.
I passed school, so consequently, it's coming so naturally.